Welcome to Spoiler Feast Theater, the podcast that doesn't give a shit about spoilers. We just want to talk about the movies. My name is Megan Kearns. My pronouns are she, her. I'm a contributing writer to Edge Media Network and a member of the Boston Online Film Critics Association.
My name is Dave Riedel. My pronouns are he, him. I write about movies for some places, and I am also a member of the Boston Online Film Critics Association.
And my name is Evan Crean. My pronouns are he, him. And I am co-author of your 80s Movie Guide to Better Living and co-chair of the Boston Online Film Critics Association.
Yes, you are.
You know, I paused, I waited.
I know.
It didn't happen.
That was my fault. I'm sorry.
You're too slow. So we have some movies that we're going to talk about this week, like every week. And for this week's show, we're going to be talking about The Ice Road, False Positive, and No Sudden Move. And before we kick that off, we want to tell you about our Patreon episode. I almost said patron and Patreon. I was trying to merge the two. Our Patreon bonus episode. We do bonus episodes every single week. And for this week's, we talk about the classic 1966 film, Who's Afraid of Virginia Woolf, starring Elizabeth Taylor, Richard Burton. One of my favorites. Evan hadn't seen it before. Dave loves it. It was a great discussion. So go check it out if you're a patron. And if you're not, consider joining for $5 a month.
Yeah. I do have one question about it, though. Who is afraid of Virginia Woolf?
Martha is, as we learn at the end of the film. But anyway.
Spoiler.
I swear that's I swear that's not a spoiler, even though we are spoiler piece.
It's really not.
It's really not.
I don't know why I asked that. That was so dumb.
It was so great, though. I'm surprised you didn't ask it during the show,
I know.
the bonus episode show.
Who is afraid of Virginia Woolf? Okay.
Well, now that we've gotten that mystery solved, the Scooby Gang is moving on to film reviews.
Yep.
Oh, don't. Oh. I don't like the way that you can do that, Evan. It just always makes me it kind of unravels me, man. So
I know. All I can think of is Scooby Snacks now. That's literally it.
Yeah. Whoo.
Zoinks.
Zoinks. Anyway, well, I was going to say, I think I need a moment to compose myself, but actually, I think this energy is perfect to kick off with our first film, the Liam Neeson action thriller, The Ice Road.
Yes, which I keep calling Liam Neeson's Ice Road Truckers.
Yeah.
That might have been better.
I don't know.
That's my preferred title.
I don't know if either of you have seen the poster for this movie, but
I have.
It looks like Liam Neeson's in pain, which it does. He just looks like, fucking Ice Road. Jesus. And that's kind of how I felt watching this whole thing.
Oh. Yeah, he looks like he's about to cry.
Yeah. Like a truck ran over his toe or something.
Yeah.
That might have been a more interesting film.
Yeah, it might have been. Oh my God. It's you would think that he would be like, all right, I'm the old man action guy. And he would, I don't know. I don't want to say be more choosy, but like be less choosy of shit. I mean, good Lord.
Yeah, so we are going to get to a summary. I will tell you a summary in just fuck it, I'll tell you right now.
Yeah.
And then I'll say what I was going to say. So Liam Neeson and his brother join some other truckers to go trek along the ice road in April, which is way too late. The season is already closed as of March, but they're going in because there was a mine that collapsed and there's a bunch of miners who are stuck and they're going to get them or to bring them help. And there's shit that happens.
Yeah.
Yeah. They have this, this mining equipment that seals off the methane leak, which caused the explosion in the first place. And because of its remote location, the only way supposedly they can get it there is by trucking it there. They can't fly the equipment in with a plane. There's no place to land. They can't take a helicopter. So they have to take their chances on the ice.
Thank you. That was a much fuller and robust description because I literally didn't care. So I couldn't keep it in my head. But anyway, the thing I want to say, and then we're going to delve in more into this film, is that, guys, I need to put a moratorium on any more Liam Neeson action films. I can't take them anymore. They're so fucking terrible. I can't do it. I can't take it. Listen, I love Taken. That one with the snowplow, not to be confused with this movie, Ice Road.
Yeah.
But the one where he's telling the kid a snowplow story, it's fucking ridiculous and amazing. I love it. There are some unbelievably fantastic action movies that Liam Neeson has done. This is not one of them. And we just keep getting piles and piles of garbage, and I'm tired of it.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
This movie is exceptionally poor. Yeah.
Yes. What the fuck?
I mean, it's just everything's bad. Like the story is stupid. The performances
and nonsensical. Yeah.
I mean, the performances are fine given what they have to work with, but big mistake is killing off Lawrence Fishburne after what, 30 minutes when he's
God. Yeah, it's like 35.
Mm-hmm.
And the thing is, when Lawrence Fishburne actually takes the trouble to play just a guy as opposed to Morpheus or this, the Subway King or whatever he's called in fucking John Wick, when he plays just a guy,
the Bowery King.
let him do that. Let him be a guy because he's so good at it.
Yeah,
and it's like, and they kill him off. In a really, I don't believe for a minute, by the way, that anybody who drives ice trucks for a living would fucking get his leg tangled up in the. I just don't.
No, not for 1 second. And not only that, but he looks at the rope like with his that's wrapped only once around his leg. By the way, it's not really tangled, and he's like, "Oh no!" Like it is so absurd. It is ridiculous. I can't take it. Lawrence Fishburne is better than this.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I also want to point out someone else who I actually did enjoy, and she was actually in the lovely film we reviewed, The Marksman with Liam Neeson, Amber Midthunder, who plays Tantu. And I actually
That's a great name.
It is a great name. And I really like her, and she's actually going to be the lead in the new Predator film, Predator Skulls or something like that. And I'm actually intrigued to see her because I think she is aside from Lawrence Fishburne, who's just always great, I think she's the only one who actually kind of sort of marginally elevates the material. Sort of.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. I mean, it sucks how they mistreat her character.
It's so dumb.
Liam Neeson jumps to conclusion that she's the one who's sabotaged them, and it just throws her under the truck. No, I'm not going to say the bus. Throws her under the truck figuratively when he calls in the situation. Just immediately blames her with no actual proof. I'm like, what an asshole!
Just because the racist white guy says so. And he is a racist because he says these people.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. And then it turns out he's the saboteur, and he's because his whole cover story for being there literally makes zero sense. He's like, I'm the insurance guy and I'm the actuary and I'm supposed to be here to assess the risk. You wouldn't go on a dangerous mission just to assess the risk.
No, that's not what actuaries do.
Fucking sense.
No, actuaries sit behind a desk and look at statistics.
You tell them not to go on that mission because it's exceedingly dangerous. Not accompany them and then turn out to be the saboteur.
Yeah.
Right? Well, really, none of them are smarter than that. That they're like, really, dude? Okay.
Yeah. I just want to point out that the writer-director of this travesty is Jonathan Hensley, who has literally never made anything good. It's a fucking miracle. I mean, The Young Indiana Jones Chronicles, he was a writer on that. It's a shitty show, shitty idea, shitty show, a far off place, shitty movie. Die Hard with a Vengeance is passable.
I like it. I think it's good.
I'll say, the performances are what you need in that movie.
I agree.
Fucking wrote Jumanji. He wrote Con Air. I mean, The Saint.
He didn't write Con Air. He produced it.
Sorry.
But I like Con Air, even though it's ridiculous and stupid. And I like Jumanji too.
Yeah, Jumanji. Anyway, Gone in 60 Seconds, the first adaptation of The Punisher. I mean, just it's
not the strongest track record. We can recognize that.
Yeah,
here.
Wait, Dave, I take it back. He did have uncredited writing work in Con Air, so there you go.
Zing.
Bazinga. But I still maintain it's an interesting film, even though it's ridiculous and over the top.
Fair enough. Fair enough. You know,
but you're right when it comes to directing, it's all garbage.
Yeah, he's written some weird Nicolas Cage in his weird action phase movies that are mildly passable.
Yes, quite the genre.
Yeah.
But clearly,
Quite the oeuvre.
right? But clearly he couldn't write anything passable in this film because, and I'm still giggling about it, my favorite line in this whole movie is right in the beginning when Liam Neeson is trying to get his brother who is disabled. He's trying to get him out of the VA hospital and trying to have him not take medication for some reason, but it doesn't really explain why. And the doctor's like, no, he has to stay. And he's like, kiss my Irish ass.
Yeah.
It's a stupid movie.
But his brother's not Irish. Like, what the fuck?
No.
Yeah. Also, this movie, I'm pretty sure, does not understand how aphasia works. Because I was talking with Shauna about this. It was like she has a degree in linguistics, and she was just explaining to me the different kinds of aphasia, and this does not match any of the three known kinds of aphasia.
Yeah.
No, it is bad. It is just all kinds of bad. And also, by the way, very boring.
Yeah. It's not a good movie.
No, I was bored to tears.
I actually wasn't bored by the action.
What?
I did find it to be quite tense.
What? Really?
It's a scary scenario. It's a scary fucking scenario to be driving a big rig on literally thin ice.
I agree with you.
Every situation is just so, I thought was incredibly tense. I just thought the movie was so stupid. Especially the thing I want to dig into
is how the guy never dies.
Idea. Well, what you mean?
I mean the bad guy.
Yeah. I mean, sidebar. So funny enough about that, I kept thinking, he kind of looks like Liam Neeson, and then I looked it up and saw that he played the younger version of Kinsey in Kinsey, and so he played young Liam Neeson. So it kind of makes sense what there's some kind of resemblance there, like that they've used that in the past. But the thing that really annoyed me about this movie is I really, really don't understand the motivations of the people at the company. So we find out that this accident was because they were paying the miners to turn off their methane detectors for some reason, I guess, to save money. They were bribing the miners. And so this explosion came because they hit methane that they weren't ready to detect. And so the people at the company, like head two guys at the company who are trying to cover this up, want the miners to die. And I really don't understand how that looks better, that you had an accident and then let the miners die by sabotaging the rescue mission.
Yeah.
Like, I get that they're not going to talk. Okay, fine. But I really don't think it looks better to have an accident and then let the miners die on top of it. I don't think that looks better for you or the company. And so I just really did not understand that motivation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I didn't understand? When they were siphoning the gas from one truck to the other one, and the can couldn't actually tilt up enough to pour gas into the gas tank. So how did they siphon gas? I mean, it would just be sitting there in the can being like, I can't come out. Sorry. That's a little nitpicky, but
that's the thing, is that when something doesn't work on every level, so many levels, you do start to see all of the cracks and all of the flaws and things that you might be passable in another film that you might not analyze or pick at.
Yeah.
It becomes much easier too.
Speaking of cracks and flaws, can we talk about the special effects?
Mm-hmm. Ooh, boy, they're bad.
I mean, this is like Sharknado level bad.
But Sharknado knows what it is, so it's acceptable.
The thing about this movie is it takes itself so fucking seriously. It's
but
like
not in the good, fast, and furious way.
Right.
No, in the I don't understand why we're taking this goofy action movie seriously, and then why are we killing the brother? That's such a mean choice. After they survive all this stuff, they're gonna kill the brother. I don't understand why they thought that was the right idea.
I mean, I don't understand why any choice was made in this film. So
yeah.
I will say my other favorite scene, in addition to Liam Neeson's kiss my Irish ass outburst, is the confrontation. They finally get the miners out, and everybody's like, woohoo! And Tantu reunites with her brother Cody, and yay, yay, yay. And then the guy, I don't even know who he is, but the guy who is like kind of in charge, and he's disgusted with the other guy who was behind the whole machination for, killing the miners. And he's like, you're disgusting. And then literally out of nowhere, Liam Neeson pushes past everyone and just punches him.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, he punches Matt McCoy in the face.
Oh, Matt McCoy. Yes. An actor I have not seen in many
character's
years.
Name. Oh, same. I was shocked to see him pop up
me
in
too.
this. But his character's name apparently was Sickle, General Manager Sickle. What a fucking weird name for a character.
Is that like Cold Trickle? Like, what is that?
I guess so.
This is Cold Trickle. I'm Cold Trickle. This is my cousin Dave Stickle.
Popsicle?
Yeah, Popsicle. We call him
there's
Pops.
some weird names. Gertie, Goldenrod,
Right?
Varney.
Varney is kind of the most non-unusual name.
Yeah. And then you have Liam Neeson who's Mike. It's like Goldenrod, Varney, Tantu, and Mike.
Oh, yeah. I love the moment when Mike's like, I'm really angry. Like when he finds out like everything that's going on, that's his response. He literally says, I'm really angry now. Been betrayed.
Yeah.
People tried to kill me, and it's a conspiracy, and now I know the truth, and I'm angry.
I can't. This movie is just so bad.
Yeah, I read some review, and I don't remember where it was or who wrote it, but it was something to the effect of the ice road is so inept that not even Liam Neeson can rescue it.
Nope.
Like, perfectly, yes. One sentence encapsulation right there.
That is correct. I do like that Skeeter, Gertie's rat, saves the day, though.
Yeah.
Oh, by biting the villain?
Yes.
Yeah.
I know. He's like, hey, there's something moving around in this box. Let me put my hand in there. What a fucking idiot. Jesus.
Yeah, that was dumb.
That's like right up there with the ferret biting the bad guy in Kindergarten Cop.
Oh
You know?
my God, yes.
Don't you talk about my ferret
Yeah,
like that,
At
Dave.
least Kindergarten Cop had the decency to have a big budget. Oh, that's a ferret. Okay.
I can't. I'm going to pee.
I'm sorry. I'm just glad that we were able to make you laugh so hard. Not that you almost peed, but that that you laughed heartily at that.
Mhm.
Oh, God. I wish I could say I laughed heartily at the film. I only did a couple times.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. This is not even, this is not even a bad film that's enjoyable bad to watch. At least not for me.
Yeah. You're absolutely right.
But hopefully Amber Midthunder will get better films. And Liam Neeson too.
Yeah, hopefully.
But right now I think I need to boycott all Liam Neeson action films.
Yeah.
Yeah, he needs to earn back our trust, I think.
Yeah, we've reviewed too many of his garbage films in the past year and I can't take it.
Maybe we can have like the movie version of The Canary in the Coal Mine. We can just like pay someone to go and be like, tell us how it is. And if they come out in tears, we'll be like, skipping it. I don't know. Yeah. That's my
I
suggestion.
like that idea. That's a good suggestion. I like it. All right. Do we have any final thoughts before moving on?
No.
No, let's move on.
Oh, thank God. I need to.
Given this movie too much time.
Thank you. That's what I'm saying. Way too much time. Okay. Let's dig into False Positive. False Positive is a horror film. It stars Alana Glazer and Justin Theroux and Pierce Brosnan. And it's directed by John Lee, who also co-wrote the screenplay along with Alana Glazer. And it is about a couple who is dealing with infertility. They've been trying to get pregnant for 2 years to not be able to. And Justin Theroux's like, hey, I know someone who can help us. And he is a doctor. And so they go to his former mentor, who's a doctor who works in a clinic, his own clinic. And it's all about that, all about their pregnancy and how Lucy, Alana Glazer's character, starts to suspect things are not what they seem and has some reservations about Pierce Brosnan, about her husband, all sorts of things.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So what did you guys What did you guys think of the film?
Evan.
I'm going to be honest. I really enjoyed this movie. I didn't really think that the ending worked. I feel like it kind of fell apart in the last act, but I really dug it otherwise. I was like really into it. It looked really good. I don't know if I think it was the first movie that I recognized I was watching in 4K and was like, whoa, this is sharp.
That's
Like,
what
this
warped
looks
your
good.
opinion, I think.
I agree.
I think it would
Because
be
this movie's a hot mess.
Yeah, it would be false if I said anything positive about this movie. So, hey!
Oh.
Ba-dum-bum-tsh.
Actually, that's not entirely true. This is a really strange movie in that you can see every plot twist coming a mile away because we've all seen pregnancy horror movies before.
And I love pregnancy horror films. I need to say that
Yeah,
because they're
and-
so fascinating.
And there's just something about, I mean, it should, Pierce Brosnan should be creepier and Gretchen Mol should be creepier, but they're not. They're just kind of silly. Because everything is just so, I don't know how you could like have a life situation and walk in and this guy is your doctor and be like, yeah, I trust this guy. I mean, he's so fucking weird,
From the jump. Like
From-
from the jump, he is weird.
And I think what is really irritating about this movie, and it's bad. But it's not. It doesn't make me mad or anything. But it's like for every good idea, there's an equally bad idea. So
Yes,
I kind of
thank
like
you.
the whole idea that does she have pregnancy brain? Which I really wish or mama brain or whatever the fuck they call it.
Mommy brain. And if I never hear that fucking phrase again, it'll be too soon.
Yeah, it's like, all right, well, we can,
Mhm.
things can happen during pregnancy. Great. But great meaning, yes, we understand that. But like to just kind of write it off like that just seems kind of cheap, especially when there is
Mhm.
something fucking crazy going on, but she is also having
Right.
hallucinations.
Yeah, I think that's for me is what doesn't work about the ending because I feel like the movie for the most part, and there are moments where you do question, okay, there may be something else going on here, but I don't necessarily chalk it up to quote unquote mommy brain.
Right.
It could just be like the severe stress, the severe like psychological burden of knowing that something is wrong and not being able to do anything about it or feeling like people are gaslighting you could lead to that type of like stress response. But what doesn't work about the ending is that for they kind of are going back and forth on that. And then at the end, it's kind of like, oh, well, she's breastfeeding this dead fetus. So maybe she really is fucked up. I don't know. I just didn't like that the movie leaves you with that note. It just felt really frustrating because I feel like the point of this kind of movie, it at least in a feminist sense, is to call out gaslighting and to like call out all these people that are telling her that she's got mommy brain or she's imagining things, even though there's this really nasty, gross, fucked up conspiracy going on.
Because oh my God, there's so much.
Yeah.
Oh, you're right. So yeah, mommy brain I want to address. That's a really fucking sexist term, and I'm sure there are people who have been pregnant who will say it's a thing, and okay, that's fine, but it is still a sexist term nonetheless. And the fact that this film relies on it over and over and over again rather than actually exploring gaslighting. And if you want to see a better film that does gaslighting exploration and pregnancy horror, it's a thriller, is Kindred, which came out last year. And that actually explores gaslighting really interestingly. But anyway, yeah, you're right. You're right, Evan, that a feminist film should be calling that out. And it kind of sort of does, sort of, kind of, but not really. And what this film has a really strange off tone. Like it's horror, but it also is kind of funny, but doesn't feel intentionally funny. And it's not campy, which I wish it would kind of lean into and be full on funny or campy or something. And what should be a feminist film about bodily autonomy and reproductive justice and the dangers of gaslighting, I feel like it succumbs to its flaws. And it's also really frustrating because I know Ilana Glazer is such a feminist person. She is a queer woman. She is extremely political and vocal about, these incredibly serious issues. And so when I was anticipating the film, I was like, wow, this is going to be amazing. And not that everybody needs to make some kind of feminist political stance, although I would love that. But this film just seems to be falling prey to the things it should be critiquing. And
Totally.
Mhm.
especially by that ending, like the ending really undoes everything. And here's the thing. There are ways to explore I'm trying to think of a way to say this I'm trying to think of how I want to say this. There are ways to explore someone's sanity, and there are ways to explore hallucinations, and there are really fascinating ways to explore that. And one of the films that comes to mind that we saw earlier this year was Saint Maud, which does that brilliantly. And
Oof.
and also does it in a way that doesn't feel anti-feminist, does it in a really compelling way. And yeah, this film is it's got some issues. But I will say, I do think that Pierce Brosnan is really sinister in this. I think he's really great in this
Mhm.
role.
I loved him in this
role too. I also love Justin Theroux, and I know you guys were texting about him a couple days ago. And yes,
whenever I was just going to say, whenever I see his name in a movie now, I'm like, oh, he's the bad guy, because he is.
Well, except for in The Leftovers where he's not. But yes, you are right. But yeah, but that's the thing, is that Justin Theroux is such a sneakily good actor, like so goddamn good, like especially in The Leftovers.
Mhm.
Really in everything he's great, but especially in The Leftovers, he's just, oh my God, just blows me away. So I think he's really good here. It's a very subtle performance, but a really good one. I hate to say it because I love Ilana Glazer so much in Broad City, and she's so good comedically. I don't think she's as good as she needs to be here, unfortunately. And I hate that, like, pains me to say because I love her so much.
Do you mean her performance or her
Yes.
script? Or okay.
Well, the script too, but especially the performance. Like it kind of,
Yeah.
I think it leaves something to be desired. The other thing too, and
Mhm.
I keep thinking about this because we talked about Who's Afraid of Virginia Woolf. And I mentioned this on the bonus episode that when you see a couple fighting, when you see a couple have issues, you need to also see what brought them together or why they're together. There has to be a reason. And watching this entire film, there is no point where I was like, oh yeah, that's why they're together, other than the fact that Justin Theroux's hot, Ilana Glazer's hot, and she's young. And that's literally it. Like, why the fuck are these two people together? I could not figure it out.
Yeah, and they're both living some kind of upper crusty kind of New York City lifestyle, which, I mean, it's very easy to draw comparisons between this and Rosemary's Baby, which is an obvious inspiration. And I do like that there are elements to this that make New York City a character in the movie, just the way I feel that it is kind of a character in Rosemary's Baby as well.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that was something that I was really enjoying, and I agree. The performances, I really liked Pierce Brosnan in this.
Mm-hmm.
I would like to see him in more like character actor-y turns,
Me
because I
too.
think that could be more interesting than what we've seen him in, which is like mostly just like garbage action.
Right.
Like Dave will laugh because one of the early episodes of the show we did was The November Man, which
Oh
is
my
like
God.
one of the just absolute worst
It's
movies.
so
and
terrible.
Never saw
so
it.
stupid. It's not worth your, but it's just such a drastic contrast for Pierce Brosnan. I want to see more like this.
I agree.
I
agree. Another thing I will say about the film that I think it's good, in addition to Pierce Brosnan and Justin Theroux, I think some of the cinematography is really great. I really liked the mirror imagery, like when they're talking, when Lucy and Adrian are in the bathroom together and they're side by side, but it looks like they're looking at themselves because it's like a split screen kind of their mirror images. And there's a lot of mirror imagery, and there's a lot of upside down shots of Lucy's face when she's having exams done. And there's a lot of sinister shots between her legs, and there's also something else that's really creepy. There's a thread that runs throughout the film of literally every single man in this film, from her husband to Pierce Brosnan, the doctor, to her coworkers at work. All the men are fucking creepy. They all touch her inappropriately. They all infantilize her, which is very clear. It's very clear, because I'm talking about how I wish the film was more feminist. That's clearly a feminist stance. Like, it's clearly trying to make a comment about how men are sexist and misogynist and creepy. And I couldn't help but think of The Assistant, which does the same thing, but does it much more effectively and subtly. And yeah,
Yeah.
I
Mhm.
kind of agree with you, Dave, that not even kind of, I do agree with you, Dave, that every time there's a good idea, and there are a lot of good ideas here, it just,
Yeah.
it's kind of counteracted by something that doesn't work or that's
Yeah.
not great. And I think that's what's so frustrating for me about this film.
Totally. I was thinking about that, like how even after she wins the big account at work and things like that, and you know, everybody is still like the guys are still making her order lunch, and it's just like, yes, I understand that is it's pointed. It's a pointed critique. But
Yes.
then to have her actually be perhaps insane at the end of the movie, it's like you just you're undercutting all this stuff. It's like, okay, pregnancy horror movies,
Mhm.
good idea, kind of on their own terms. To have the doctor be the person inseminating them all, that's so stupid. It's been done, for Christ's sake. It's been done in real life.
Yes, it has.
You know, like I don't have any interest in that as a story. If it turned out that he had been summoning demons from the ninth circle of hell and they were impressed, I'd be like, no one's done that. Awesome. You know? But this
That's
is
funny
just,
you say that.
yeah, but this is just like, oh, the Irish doctor is, you know, injecting his own semen into all these women. Gross. I've
Well,
seen
yeah.
this before.
It's gross, and then there are parts of the movie where he kind of hints at his ideology
Yeah.
of being this superior kind of guy, and feeling like the rest of the world needs more of his je ne sais quoi in it. But it's just, I agree. There are a few threads or a few different plot lines that maybe individually would work if they were explored to better potential. Like there would be more breathing room. Like the stuff at work could be really compelling on
Mhm.
its own
Yes.
if she was like a straight up career woman and we just saw that angle of this happening. Or I don't know. I just feel like it would have helped to have more focus on any one of these kind of threads that are going, and then that way it wouldn't feel like you guys are saying that there's a bunch of ideas that either undercut each other or feel conflicting or don't gel together.
Totally. And the other yeah, I completely agree with everything you just said, Evan. And another issue in the film is the midwife Grace. And so Zainab Jah, who plays the midwife Grace, is absolutely amazing in Farewell Amore, which came out last year. And she's really, really great. And she gives this very lengthy speech that Lucy is watching a video of because she's mesmerized by the image of Grace on a cover of a magazine that John, who's Pierce Brosnan, is also on. And so she looks up her work and she finds her speaking on a video. And it's this very, very, very long speech about how pregnancy is not an illness and women have been doing this for, you know, millions of years, and doctors have thought that historically that the womb was an unruly creature that they needed to tame, and women had to rely on medicine and all of these things, which, by the way, I shouldn't say all the things I agree with, but most of what she's saying I do agree with. I agree with the spirit of it. And I mean, she kind of goes into some spirituality and stuff, which, yeah, okay. And there are more people than just women can get pregnant. And, you know, there's that element too. So this is kind of a very like cis normative way of looking at pregnancy and everything. But for the most part, the general, you know, gist I agree with. But I'm watching this and I'm like, why the fuck are we having this kind of, it's not an information dump, but kind of a thematic dump. And I'm like, why are these ideas, which are all great and important and salient ideas, why is this not woven throughout the film in a more effective way?
Mm-hmm.
But I will say something else that I laughed at and was also kind of glad about. It's very clear that Lucy's very creepy about Grace herself because Grace is a Black woman, and the way she talks about her, that Grace is magical to Adrian. And I'm like, oh my fucking God, we're doing the magical Negro trope. And then Grace calls her out on that. And I was like, thank you. So I was very glad to see that.
Yeah.
Still on the nose, still lacking subtlety, but I'm glad we got it.
Yeah.
Oh, Evan, did you have something to say? Because there's one more thing I want to go.
I was just going to quickly follow up with, I agree, Megan, that scene, that whole long drawn out voiceover just felt strange to me. I found myself pulled out of the movie because I was thinking, why is this so long? Why am I watching basically an infomercial for a character in the movie?
A character who has no agency or development of their own, by the way.
Yeah. And I also just want to add that I know that like horrible sexist, misogynist stuff goes on at the office in 21 still. But, I don't think anybody would be dumb enough to actually say to a pregnant woman at the office, we're taking you off this account because you're pregnant. I mean, that's just like, what?
Because you could get sued. If
Yes!
nothing else, you would get sued.
I mean, what the fuck? I mean, that's so dumb. That's
It is
such
so dumb.
piss poor writing.
Yeah.
Like-
what would have been better if he was like, oh, you've been coming in late or you've been kind of nodding off at your desk, like kind of more subtle, but still awful
She-
misogynist things. Yes.
She's already being treated like the assistant, still having to order lunch every day. So why not just be like, we don't think you're up for it. We saw your notes. We think they're shit. Fuck you. I mean, problem solved.
Right. And then it would make more sense that they stole her ideas, and they told her they were shitty, but then stole them. Like that would
Yeah.
make way more sense.
Totally.
Yeah. And be way more realistic and well written.
That was the thing that probably made me angriest in the entire movie.
I'm glad you said that because that actually really bugged me too.
Just, God. Yeah.
I will say this actually has nothing to do per se with the film, but I was very pleasantly surprised to see an infertility trigger warning at the beginning of the film. So thank you, Hulu.
Oh, I think I forgot. Well, shocker. I forgot.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought that was nice to offer a content warning.
Mhm.
I mean, in case you didn't know what you were in for based on the theme
Right.
of the movie.
And also, they should have had like a trigger warning for this is a shitty movie. So if you're triggered by shitty
Yikes.
movies, turn it off.
Well, Evan didn't think it was shitty.
Okay.
No, I was actually quite into it until I feel like it just totally unraveled with the ending.
If you are the kind of person who is given to think this is kind of a shitty movie, as opposed to someone who likes the tense stuff.
Yeah, I think that there are better pregnancy horror movies out there. It's a subgenre I love, and I really wanted to love this. I was really excited for this, and I just unfortunately was really disappointed. But there are some good parts. Like I said, some of the cinematography, Pierce Brosnan was great, Justin Theroux was really great, and I love you, Alana Glazer. I'm sorry.
Oh,
I really wish I loved this more.
I feel bad for kind of shitting all over the movie when Evan was like, hey, I liked this. So I did want to say one thing, Evan, that I thought was actually pretty effective was how when all of the nurses talked on their headsets, the other nurse that they were asking something of arrived immediately. Like it was just like super creepy.
It was super
that was
creepy.
very creepy.
Yeah.
It's like, could you bring in the blah? And then she's there. It's like,
Yeah, I will say, I mean, and I know I said this earlier that it has kind of an off tone, and I think it does. I think it's kind of a jarring tone. I will say the creep factor got that nailed down pat. Really well done on that.
Yeah.
So I think this isn't, I don't know. I just think there are so many good things and so many not good things, and this could have been better. I think it needed maybe a lot more pair of eyes to like smooth some of the issues out.
Yeah.
But Evan, I know I say this every time that one of us likes a film and at least one of us doesn't. I'm genuinely really glad you liked this film so much. I wish I had. I feel cheated. Like I wish I had liked it more. I will say I didn't like hate it or anything. I wasn't like miserable watching this. It just was frustrating.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of want to double back on that too, because I feel really bad about my trigger warning thing. I didn't like it's just like it was just I just kind of watching this going like I just don't like it's not like I was sitting there, wanting to stab myself with a knitting needle. I just was just like, oh,
no, that's
God.
how I felt watching The Ice Road. But not this.
Yeah.
Yeah, this I was just watching it. I was frustrated because I was like, okay, here it's gonna get better here. Okay, we're doing something good here. Now let's build that momentum, and it just.
That's what I mean. That's what I mean too. And I was.
It just was frustrating.
Even when the babies were like, it looked like she was going to throw them out the window. But
oh my God, I would have loved that if that had happened. Which
Me
I know is so
too.
disturbing, but true.
But
Thank you, Evan. I'm glad I'm not the only one.
But this is
No, I thought that would have been a great way to end the movie if she thought they were like floating away, but she'd really just dropped them. Or even it would have been better if the ending was her handing them to Justin Theroux and being like, "Hey,
yeah, get out of here.
you take these. I don't want them."
Yeah, I know. I don't know why we just didn't stop there. Instead, it just feels like an ableist kind of, sexist way to end it. And I don't know. But then I'm also like, ooh, creepy embryo nursing. That's quite a visual.
Yeah, definitely never seen it before. So
Yeah.
I feel like I have somewhere.
Oh, really?
I really
Okay.
do. Yeah. I need to think because not now, obviously, but after the show, I feel like I need to do a deep dive thinking because I really feel like I've seen it somewhere else before, but it's striking nonetheless. Definitely visceral and memorable. Yeah. I have to say, this is one of the films I feel really badly that I did not love or even, but anyway, can't win them all. All right. So on to our last film of the show, No Sudden Move, the new Steven Soderbergh film in which he directed, did the cinematography for, although it's credited under his alias for cinematography, and also the editing as well, although that is also under an alias that he uses frequently for editing. It is written by Ed Solomon and stars Don Cheadle, Benicio del Toro, David Harbour, Amy Seimetz, or Seimetz, I never know how to pronounce her name, John Hamm, Brendan Fraser, Kieran Culkin, and
Julia Fox.
Yes, thank you. Ray Liotta.
Yeah.
And
Bill Duke.
Jupe.
Don't forget Bill Duke.
Okay, Bill Duke.
Doing his
Yes.
quiet,
Criminally underused. Bill
Yes.
Duke.
doing his
Yes.
quiet, menacing Bill Duke thing.
Very menacing, very quiet. You're right. But yeah, so this is a jam-packed cast and it takes place in the 50s in Detroit. And it is a crime film that is all about the double crossings, triple crossings, and deals gone wrong. Anyone like to give a more detailed summary? I know it's a lot. There's a lot that happens.
Yeah.
There's
I
a lot
mean-
of story in this movie.
Yeah, I mean, so Don Cheadle is our main character, I guess, and he is asked to do what, of course, sounds like a simple job on paper. He's asked by Brendan Fraser to work with Benicio del Toro and Kieran Culkin to guard this family while David Harbour needs to go and grab a secret document out of a safe at GM where he works. And yeah, nothing goes according to plan, and everyone is scrambling to figure out what to do once things go awry. Kieran Culkin is supposed to come back and kill Benicio del Toro, the family, and
Don Cheadle.
and Don Cheadle, and then Kieran Culkin gets killed. So then everything just kind of spirals out of control from there. There's the local mobsters played by Bill Duke and Ray Liotta, who hate Don Cheadle because he's screwed a bunch of stuff up for them. And then there's the outfit out of Chicago who Brendan Fraser is representing, and they're not happy about this. I mean, it's tons of characters. As you just said, double crossing, triple crossing. It's one of those kind of movies. It's very Steven Soderbergh. It's the kind of movie that he likes to make, these big kind of ensemble pieces with like some slinky music and some sleek cinematography, and then just throw Matt Damon in as the smug white guy at the end.
Right. Forget about that. I mean,
Don't forget about that.
well, no, I guess I wasn't surprised, but at the same time, I wasn't
surprised.
frankly, I was a little disappointed that it was Matt Damon, but because
of Matt Damon's acting abilities, or
because it just seems like something that Steven Soderbergh would do, and I don't want Steven Soderbergh to be predictable, I guess is what I'm saying.
That's fair.
Yeah,
That's fair.
I see what you mean. I like Matt Damon, and I think he can do that kind of part well. I just think he was laying it on way too thick, like being I'm the white rich guy, and I get everything I want, and you get none of what you want, and I'm gonna make money off the situation, even though I'm losing money right now.
Although that's
it's so
very fitting to
on the
real
nose.
life with Matt Damon, though.
Oh, of course. I mean, there's a reason he played Brett Kavanaugh so well on SNL. He
I
really
didn't even know he
nailed
did.
that douchey. Oh, he was amazing.
I don't ever think Matt Damon's really amazing, but okay. I think he was good in Good Will Hunting, and for me, that's where he peaked.
Gonna have to agree to disagree on that one, but yeah, I feel like he's laying it on pretty thick, and it's kind of, to Dave's point, it's predictable, but also it's a little on the nose. It feels like it goes on way too long.
Yeah, I will say though that scene, I agree. I totally agree. I will say though that, however, because it goes on so long, I found myself getting very antsy and very nervous that like something was going to get blown up, somebody was going to get shot from behind, something was going to happen. And the fact that nothing does in that room is, I think, kind of brilliant in that it's building all of this tension and then it doesn't go anywhere right in that moment. And I was like, ooh, I like that. It's a great subversion.
Yeah.
Yes, I agree. It was a nice subversion.
I was, I liked this a lot. I was kind of disappointed that the Benicio del Toro Julia Fox storyline was so predictable, that she would end up doing him in because he's a big dummy. And I also, it's strange to see now. It's really hard for smart people to play people who maybe aren't as smart as they are in real life. But Benicio actually pulls it off. But at the same time, I was like, this guy just wouldn't get this lucky for this long. I mean, I just, how is he not dead already? And Don Cheadle knows he's kind of a dope. I don't know. It was interesting to me, though, to see John Hamm be so mild-mannered when I've seen him play this character as such an asshole. And I'm thinking of The Town, for example.
Mm-hmm.
But in this, he's just like, hey, this kid, some people got shot. What happened? Hey, here's your money back, Matt Damon. I don't need any. I was not expecting that.
It's also funny seeing John Hamm in period clothing again from the 50s.
Right.
Though in Mad Men it was the 60s. But I'm watching and I was like, wow, and it's such a minor detail, but it tells me all I need to know about this character. I was like, wow, this is an ill-fitting suit. I'm used to John Hamm wearing very crisp, very well-tailored, sharp suits, and this does not fit him right. And it's subtly so, it's very subtly too big. And I was like, wow, great job, wardrobe department. It's such a very minor touch that just, like I said, tells me that he doesn't make a lot of money. He's not the one pulling the strings right away, right out of the gate. You kind of know what kind of character he is just by that visual cue. Great touch.
Yeah.
So I also, sorry.
It was cool.
What?
I was agreeing that was a nice touch, and it was nice to see him playing kind of a more understated character.
Mm-hmm. So I was going to say, I also really liked this a lot. I think this is a great ensemble, that the pacing was really well done. It was tense, but it mixes things up. I love the scene in the house with Kieran Culkin, Don Cheadle, Benicio del Toro, and Amy Seymetz and her kids. And then David Harbour's there, and it's incredibly tense. And the kids will go to another room, and then one of them will stop them, and then they'll let them. And it's really, the way they navigate that house is really interesting to see, really intriguing. I liked that whole sequence tremendously. I also liked the quick dialogue, and I liked the cinematography and the use of various fisheye lenses. I liked that too.
I found that really distracting. I gotta say, I usually really, really like Steven Soderbergh's camera work, but this I was just like, oh my God, they're getting distorted every time. And there was also there was a vignette in the entire movie, and I'm just like, why is there a vignette on this movie? I don't understand. You've got the fisheye. Do you also need the vignette? What's going on? Anyway, so
I agree that it was actually distracting. I liked that though. I found it worked into what was going on thematically and narratively in the film.
I feel like I come down somewhere in the middle of that. I on the one hand, I thought it was cool when I started noticing it initially, especially when people are standing at the edges of the frame and they look so distorted. Mm-hmm. But I think after a while, I wanted something different and wanted to spend less time being distracted by people looking weird in the sides of the frame.
No, that's totally fair. It made me feel very voyeuristic. I'm, obviously looking through people. So for me, it worked, but I can totally see. But it is distracting. I get it. I get why you guys didn't like it. It probably would have been nice if, it was mixed up a little bit more and kind of maybe used a little more sparingly. But yeah, I get it. I liked it, but I totally get it. I
also wanted to add that I was really happy to see Brendan Fraser just be in a movie. Because where the fuck has he been? I mean, I know he's had all those health problems from all the action movies that he did, but
it was more than just that. But.
Well, yes, more than just that. But there has been other stuff. But It was just, and he's really good, and just to see him, I don't know. I've always liked him a lot, going back to School Ties. So
me too.
And I've never seen Encino Man, and I don't plan to. But
ditto.
Yeah. It's not worth your time. Trust me. Yeah, I was really happy to see Brendan Fraser as well, and I thought he was good in this. I'd like to see him in more. Hoping that this maybe will make some type of Frasier-sance.
Well, he's going to be in the new Darren Aronofsky film, so
awesome. I'm totally on board
yeah,
with that.
I am too. Except read the plot, and maybe you will, maybe you won't. I don't know. Yeah.
All right. This is Aronofsky. All right.
And
all right, all right.
and I say this as someone who loves Darren Aronofsky films, like loves, cannot get enough of them. And yeah, this one, but we'll talk about it another time.
Yeah. Yeah, fair enough. There was something else I wanted to say about Brendan Fraser, and I totally
Sorry, I
blanked on
derailed
it.
you.
Again, no, it's okay. Happy to see him in this. Definitely want to see him in more.
Agreed.
That's all I got for now on that.
Now, what do we think of the whole Amy Seimetz maybe running off with the neighbor subplot that comes up for 2 sentences?
Loved that.
Ooh,
Loved
yeah.
it. I'm like, oh, here we go. Queer love story.
I know.
I love it. And she makes a comment too that is really funny. Like, oh, we'll see how that goes, or how that's gonna blow over, or something like that.
How we're gonna explain that, or something like that.
Thank you. Yeah. And I was like, oh, yes, queer ladies in the 50s. Glad to see it. And yes, it would be a hell of a time explaining that.
Yeah. It's also nice to see David Harbour kind of play a normal in air quotes, because he plays creeps so often. I don't know him from Stranger Things. I just know him from movies where he's played super creeps. And so to see him just play like a guy who works in an office, even though he does kind of lose his mind and beat the crap out of the guy later.
That scene was great. It was really well done. I'm hitting you. I'm raising my fist to hit you. I'm really sad about this. I really love my job. I'm really sorry I have to beat you up, but I really need this document.
This shows how much I don't want to get fired, or how much I need this document that I'm willing to risk getting fired. Yeah. That was great. I think David Harbour was really great in this too. And you're right, Dave. He does often play creeps, or in Stranger Things, he's not a creep, but it is kind of in weird role because it's a weird show.
Yeah.
So I agree with you. It is great to see a more mainstream role.
Oh, by the way, Megan, this is listeners, this is related to our Patreon segment, Who's Afraid of Virginia Woolf. He played Nick in some revival of Who's Afraid of Virginia Woolf in the early 2000s. I forgot.
Interesting.
Can't remember who. Marie Enos played Honey, but I don't remember who George and Martha were. Anyway, that's another story for another time.
I love Marie Enos too. She's great. But anyway, again, she's not in this.
Right. She's not in this movie.
No. But you know who I did want to say that I love, in addition to the queer lady storyline? I love Amy Seimetz. I always am glad to see her. She's a great filmmaker, great director, but she's also a really great actor too. So I'm glad to see her in this.
Yeah, I really dug the what was the movie that she wrote and directed last year?
She Dies Tomorrow.
She Dies Tomorrow. That's a great movie.
It's so great.
So definitely a little different, listeners, but worth seeing if you haven't. I think we talked about it in the show. So
we definitely did.
Yeah.
I also just want to say Ed Solomon, a long way from Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure.
Yes,
definitely.
I was thinking that too.
I mean, he's actually got a pretty diverse resume when he's not writing Bill and Ted movies, but yeah, I like the way this all kind of hung together. Even though toward the end, I felt like it overstayed its welcome a little bit, especially when we got to Mr. Big.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Yeah, it felt long in the tooth. I think that's that's an expression I've heard you use, Dave.
Long in the
tooth. It definitely overstayed its welcome a bit. And I one thing I wanted to talk about before we, I wanted to talk about this idea of tying into the auto industry and having the fact that this document has the secret plans to catalytic converter, and the whole postscript at the end about how the auto industry knew that pollution was harming people, and then when they got caught, that still nothing happened to them. And I don't know, I thought that was kind of an interesting angle, wrapped up in the Matt Damon piece of the story, but I don't really feel like it was effective. or it didn't for me wrap up in a kind of effective way. It felt kind of tacked on.
Oh.
So I wanted to see what you both felt about it.
I disagree. I loved it. I loved everything about it. I thought it didn't just tie into the Matt Damon piece, although that's the most, I don't want to say obvious, but it is the most obvious and salient part of it. But no, I loved it. I love that it's kind of woven throughout the fabric. And we didn't need the Matt Damon speech to really solidify it or really be so overt about it. But yeah, no, I think it's basically talking about power dynamics and how, the rich will always be rich. They'll always be the ones in charge. And the auto industry in this case versus environmentalism and hiding the catalytic converter very much ties into that. And I think there's kind of that overarching theme, but then we also see that play out in all of these various machinations and deceptions and double crosses and power plays on I don't want to say smaller scale, but on a more individual level as well. So I think it was really great. And I love that we're getting this crime noir film that ties into something that is factual. So I liked that too. I liked it tremendously.
Well, let me take the opposite approach. No. I was just going to say that I think it's a good idea overall to weave that in, but I think that it came so late in the movie. Like for most of the time, the catalytic converter, it feels like a MacGuffin, It's like how the Maltese Falcon's not really about the Maltese Falcon. So it's like, you got all these people doing all this crooked shit. And then you've got, the two sentences about the queer love story. And then you've got the I forgot what I was going to say. Anyway, you've got all these different plot threads like kind of coming and going. And this one just shows up kind of late. And it does make sense. And if you know your history of the big three or the big four, as they call them, on point in this movie, because there was, whatever, the fourth one that got eaten by the others. Yeah.
Was it Studebaker?
Studebaker, yeah. It was, yeah, it's a good story to tell. I just kind of feel like this maybe wasn't the right venue for it because this is mostly a gangster movie. I mean, it's, it's bigger than that and it's subtler than that. And it's also a character piece, but I kind of feel like how Evan does, that it felt just like, we're shoehorning this in a little bit. I don't think it was bad, but it did feel like an afterthought almost.
Yeah, it did to me, and like, it's not to say I dislike the movie for it. I just wish I felt like it didn't feel so last minute, so tacked on, because I really enjoyed the rest of the movie.
Yeah, I mean, I'm thinking about it, and I'm like, I wonder how it would have been, because I felt it was kind of woven throughout, but I'm wondering how it would have been better in a way that would have been more impactful for you guys. I'm curious what changes could have been made to make it better.
Good question.
Thanks. I'm always bringing the good ones.
Not going to figure it out tonight, unfortunately.
Phone a friend on this one.
Yeah.
What was that?
I said we got to phone a friend on this one, and then Dave, Dave said we're not going to figure it out tonight.
Oh, phone a friend. How I miss you. Speaking, the one thing I wanted to say, one thing I wanted to mention is that speaking of various storylines, this is a very, very quick one that we don't spend a lot of time on. But the fact that Julia Fox, who is married to Ray Liotta and is having an affair with Benicio del Toro, the fact that she's also abused, the fact that Ray Liotta is incredibly violent with her. We don't see it on screen, although we see her running away and screaming as he's like chasing after her, running up the stairs after he finds out that she had an affair. And then the next time we see her, she's got bruises all over her face and she kills him. And I was like, yes.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, yes, you did that.
You know what I liked about that a lot? I liked the fact that you didn't see her get beaten up, but you did see her kill him.
Yes, me too.
I was like,
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, but
and dispensed with him rather quickly.
Yes, but it's just it just goes to show just there are so many overlapping storylines. Like, I don't know about you guys. I very rarely lose the thread of who's who in a film. And I have a hard time when people are talking and I don't see their face first, or like when they just throw the name out. So this was just bouncing all over the place. And on top of that, there are all these storylines. But it was great. I really enjoyed it. But makes it a little hard to keep track of.
You know, it's interesting that you say that because they were talking about Frank so long before he shows up on screen. When Ray Liotta finally showed up, I'm like, oh, this is Frank.
Right.
Yeah.
No, with Frank, I was not confused at all. I knew exactly who it was.
Yeah.
But like some of the auto like
Sure.
people in the auto industry, I was kind of like, who?
Yeah. I can see, like, yeah, I definitely was just some of the names. I was like, I know that you said this name before, but I have no idea who the fuck this is.
Right.
But
Right, exactly.
yeah, there was a little of that for me, but
Yeah, but I will say, to me, it goes, usually that might take me out of it, or yeah, but anyway, it didn't. So, but do we have any final thoughts? Does anyone have anything they have to say about this film before we wrap up?
No, I think we covered it.
All right. So let's do a recap. The Ice Road is now streaming on Netflix. Would you guys recommend it?
I would recommend you skip it.
I wouldn't agree. I would not recommend it.
I'm sorry. I don't know why that's making me laugh so hard.
Yeah.
I agree. I would not recommend this or recommend keeping it. Okay, False Positive.
Streaming on Hulu.
It is streaming on Hulu right now. Would you recommend it?
I'm going to say pass on False Positive.
I'm gonna say see it. I think because I think ultimately it is, for me, it's strong enough that it's worth watching, even if it kind of blows the ending.
Yeah, I'm kind of mixed because I think it's got some good ideas. Overall, I would probably unfortunately say skip it, but it does have some good ideas. And if you're a pregnancy horror completionist, sure, why not?
Important caveat.
What a genre to be a completionist about.
Hey, listen, I love a pregnancy horror. I will always go and see a pregnancy horror film. I'll pretty much go see any pregnancy movie. That's what you need to know about me. Abortions, pregnancy horror, you name it, I'm there. Okay, and No Sudden Move, which is now streaming on HBO Max. Would you recommend it?
Yeah.
Yes.
I would as well. All right. Well, we want to give a huge thank you to our amazing editor, Otto Clammer. Otto, thank you so much for making us sound great week in and week out.
Thanks, Otto.
Thanks, Otto.
You can find Spoiler Piece Theater anywhere you get podcasts. We are everywhere. You can also find us at our website, spoilerpiece.com. You can find us on social media. We are all over the place. We are Spoiler Piece Theater on Facebook, and we're at Spoiler Piece on Twitter, Instagram, Letterboxd, and TikTok. So follow us on all of the social media sites. You can also email us. Let us know. Did you love one of the films we did not? Did you not like one of the films that we did? Tell us. We want to hear from you. We love your comments and your feedback. You can email us at spoilerpiece@gmail.com, or you can give us a call
At 862-21-PEACE.
leave us a voicemail message, text us. We want to hear from you. If you like the show, please rate and review us by going to ratethispodcast.com/spoilerpiece. You can also go to Apple Podcasts and rate us there. That helps us out tremendously, gets the word out about the show. We would really appreciate it. And if you really, really like the show and you're not already a patron, and thank you if you are, please consider joining our Patreon. For $1 a month, we give you a thank you on the show. For $5 a month, you get access to vote in monthly polls, and you get access to weekly bonus episodes, not only forthcoming episodes, but our entire back catalog of episodes. And we have a ton of bonus episodes. And this week, we talked about Who's Afraid of Virginia Woolf. We had a great conversation, so go check it out. Consider joining so you can listen to it if you're not already a patron. And we want to take this moment to thank our patrons.
We want to say a huge thank you to William Scahan, to Sean Pensionar, Christopher Jensen, Bob Chipman, Charlie Nash, Davina Margolin, Zach Pigeon, Chris Wilkinson, Max Colville, Shona Glasgow, Shelley McCaskill, Mike, Lord of the Sith, Deirdre Crimmins, and Shauna Harris.
Thanks, patrons.
Thank you.
Thank you, listeners. We are so appreciative that you are here. So thank you. My name is Meg. Yes, thank you. Got too excited there. My name is Megan Kearns. I'm a contributing writer to Edge Media Network. I'm also a member of the Boston Online Film Critics Association. You can follow me on Twitter at OpinionSWorld and on Instagram and Letterboxd at TheOpinionS.
My name is Dave Riedel. I write about movies for some places. I'm a member of the Boston Online Film Critics Association, and you can follow me on Twitter, Instagram, and Letterboxd as Dave Sees Movies.
And my name is Evan Crean. I am co-chair of the Boston Online Film Critics Association and co-author of your 80s movie guide, Better Living. You can follow me on Twitter and on Letterboxd as Real Recon, and that's real as in film reel.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.